in a main's opinion, with a grain of salt, maybe the whole jar.
Wow.
But I'm not wrong.
Wow.
There you are, we're on to the rifts. Nice little tour of the various bits of wildlife. And of course, the constellations. It's got Astralis, very appropriate considering their namesake being star. And then there's just a random, you know, skull with a cowboy hat in the hair.
But like
air
Astralis
sky.
does fit the whole star.
Very much so. They do very well. Of course, speaking of Astralis, to drag it to the game now, you've had your moment to moan about the hate that was thrown your way for being a Katarina main. Astralis, question marks on this roster. They have switched out Wendell for Kiba, but aside from that, this roster has stayed the same from spring. This is a roster with a lot of experience. The artist formerly known as Crest, formerly known as Sankux, now renamed Sankux, was an LEC mid laner for quite a while. Hell, he played alongside the likes of Diamond Prox and Gambit for a bit as well. There's stuff here. This guy's been around for a long time. He's been to Worlds, and Astralis last split did not deliver.
I think Astralis was, let's say it how it is, the biggest disappointment when it came to the NLC. We lost Fnatic as our second academy team, and then when Astralis joined the league, we're like, cool, we have a second academy team that's going to be extremely strong. The names are extremely strong, full of veterans. You've got Taxa in there. You mentioned Senkax. Krispek has won the Nordics previously. He's a champion of the league, right? So you're expecting to see really big results coming from a team that is formed out of 5 Danish players that are all veterans in the scene. And I feel like it all fell short, even from the fundamentals. The macro wasn't there, the decision-making wasn't there, the proactivity wasn't there, and it just all fell apart. At the point where Astralis started picking up victories. They even had a victory versus JDXL, who was almost undefeated at that point. By the time that this happened, they had already fallen down the deep end and couldn't climb back up the ranks. But right now, it's a new season. The fact that they have kept 4 or 5 members of this roster means that they still believe that the team can work. And I can't wait to see what Kiba brings to this new roster.
And this will be the first test. Remember, they started pretty strong last split, and then it really did fall away. See whether they can do it better this time around. Of course, NYYRIKKI have kept the bottom side of the map. Aero, Azitor, and of course, Abagnale are returning from last split, but Patoshka and Desidere have been switched out for Banderas and Flipper. Flipper used to play on NYYRIKKI. Yep. He was the guy who got them into Div 1 in the first place when they were promoting him, but he's back on the roster here. He's on the Jins out to try and offer a little bit of an early game bridging pick, right? To get some of these lanes through their early phases and get them to a point where they can be powered. He can hand over the reins.
And just so we can give a little bit of context about both teams and how they usually like to play the game, if you look at Astralis or any team that Krispek has been a part of, he is the main star. He is the guy that's sitting underneath the spotlight, and especially in the previous split, where all these hyper carries were flavor of the month, are so strong, you looked at somebody like Krispek who loves to play these types of champions to shine through. On the other side of the map, for NYYRIKKI, it is the same story for Azita. We used to really commend him for the way he used to play the Jinx in the late game.
Really spectacular.
Yeah. He would pop off. We said if Azita gets free out of his laning phase with items, there is no chance that NYYRIKKI can lose in teamfights with a Fed Jinx or Aphelios. Now, if you look at both teams, stylistically, they play the same game. They do like to play the front to back, but I'm really surprised because with Banderas slotting in, we also have Petoshka that very well...
He's a massive hero player.
The Riven. He does like to play the side lane. So I do like to see the fact that Banderas is slotting in with the Ergots, with the Fiors, trying to bring in that side lane pressure, whilst the 4-man core for NYYRIKKI is so strong and slippery.
Time to see whether they can make it work, though, because we've set up the stakes there. As Flipper will claim that second Scuttle Crab and leave us with that. And while we do that, we'll check in a little bit with some of our social media stuff. For NLC at home, that's your hashtag. Been told to ignore the coat hanger and Prime League t-shirt. Prime League t-shirt.
What?
Disgusting.
I didn't even read that, but I was about to say, is he wearing a Prime League t-shirt?
He is.
Does he know what he walked into? Wikini, you're looking great, my dude.
You are looking fantastic. I mean, get yourself some NLC merch and we'll forgive you. But right now, of course, throw that hashtag up. Gonna see what we can get as a flash charm in the mid lane. Never mind talking about the Styles. Oh, we got Styles in the mid lane. Solo kill. He changes the name and Suncox gets himself on the board.
Okay, this is very early. This is 4 minutes in. Senkax with a solo bolo onto Aero takes his flush away as well, which means now that Senkax on the Ari is about to hit level 6, he's gonna become that more deadly now that Aero will not have the mobility. And Aero pays right there for trying to cancel that teleport. Senkax is gonna to make sure that he solves in that lane as well. Thankfully for Aero, Abagnale was there to sort of neutralize the lane again and have his wave pushing his way. But all in all, this is going to be very difficult for Aero to push down his lane.
Handshake onto Abagnale. Of course, he is still a Rakan, so will battle dance his way over the wall and be just fine. Either way, first blood goes over towards Yari. Of course, NYYRIKKI on the desk did say he considers this a skill matchup that Ari can win, even if it's a little bit tilted towards the Veigar. That's a great way to win out that matchup early on.
He said playing to the limits, right? I think Senkax played very well to the limits.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're trying to cancel my teleport, I'm going to cancel your HP bar. One solo bolo to Senkax, 5 for MNS, it's on.
Playtime was in fact over. Enough of that, it was all a bait. Now Taxa is a little low here, and Abagnale could potentially, with that Ignite, maybe cause a little bit of bother with Flipper around, but we'll be able to get back up towards his Raptors, and that's about that.
The only positivity that I can see about having the Ezreal on the bot lane, right, because we mentioned how Azator is usually the hyper carry from his team, but right now he's sitting on the Ezreal, is the fact that, yes, Aero lost his flash, but Abagnale can be around to shadow for him and keep him safe, due to the fact that you have an Ezreal down the bot side of the map and he can stay relatively safe even underneath the tower or from distance farming. So, in the bad moments, always look at the glass half full.
Absolutely, we can do that. I also want to call out something of a bit of a history point here as well, because Chrisberg, back when he was winning, when he was one of the more...
2019 summer.
Absolutely. That was a part of that Xayah Kai'Sa meta. And he was not looking so great on the likes of the Caitlyn, the Jinxes, the Aphelios. Looked a bit more uncomfortable on those.
I can make it even worse for you. I can make it even worse for you. He used to play Kog'Maw as well.
Oh boy, there you go. I've seen what's happening in 12-10. So prepare for that in a week or so. But that sounds a lot more like what we saw Chrisberg really succeed on. Has already got an early play. And honestly, with something like this Renata behind him, can be pretty scary. Banderas has actually popped the Grand Duel. The top side doesn't really make a lot out of it, though. So that's just the ultimate down as well for this Fiora.
I think it was due to Senkax sort of threatening top side of the map. He had already walked too far up. So making sure that you put that ultimate down onto the Gnar, having the possibility of the heal and the sustain later on once you heal all the vitals, means that maybe even Senkax roaming towards the top side of the map will not result in a kill. And Senkax goes back into the mid lane. Good thing for Aero right now, the lane is slowly but surely pushing towards him. The only problem is because you have to play from distance, you have to farm with your Q. That means that your Q is going to be hitting 2 minions back to back. So you will end up sort of shoving in, unless Senkax wants to shove in the lane and sort of disappear into the wall, especially now that he has his ultimate up and available. Even just getting into the bush and disappearing, you don't know where this area is going, you have to respect.
And so the thing is, aside from that moment of individual brilliance we've now seen from Astralis, it's got the early Drake as well. 5 seconds until this Herald spawns. We'll see whether Astralis want to try and focus around that, and Tax is certainly thinking about heading over towards it with Carlson near the Mega Gnar. Feels about right. I was about to say, look, there hasn't been all that much action. That's always been a flaw we've had against Astralis, and when you've got something like a Fiora free scaling in that top side, that's a dangerous thing to do. But now we are seeing a bit of a proactive move towards a neutral objective, and NYYRIKKI look to see whether there's anything available towards his bot side, but there isn't really anything but a red buff to try and take away.
Yeah, but look at Astralis on the other side of the map. They started the Rift Herald, they secured the Rift Herald, they can choose to use it on the Ahri in the mid lane, maybe pick onto the Aeros Veigar again, now that he doesn't have his flash up and available, pop down the Rift Herald, or even use it in 2 minutes when the next dragon is coming up. Use it as a point of pressure, move into the bot river, establish your vision, and play like this. Now, the thing is, yes, he only lost a red buff for Taxa, but he did secure his team a very major objective while also being ahead in CS and experience, so he definitely did not lose much in this trade, whilst Chrisberg onto the Xayah together with Kiba on the Renata is just a very difficult lane to even try and dive into.
Bait, there it is! It's all a bait! They made it think as though there wasn't anything, and Abagnale needs to get out, but he's just going to fall down. The heal, though, keeps him alive, and I spoke too soon. Flash burn from Kiba for a heal from Azator, but the Rakan will get out alive for now.
Yeah, and usually you want to make sure that your Rakan is on the map before the Renata. Renata is a little bit more squishier and doesn't set up quite the same way as a Rakan can. And you really want your Rakan to be around that mid lane when Veigar walks back in, where potentially Taxa could be. But they're looking towards the bot side of the map. They want to shove in this wave, potentially even drop down the Rift Herald, give more money into Chrisberg. Once this tower plate goes down, then bring in Senkax as well. They really want this tower to go down.
There's a ward in that tri-brush, and it's going to spot a lot of members coming the way of this Ezreal, who'll throw down the Arcane Shift. There's the Herald drop, and Azador now entirely out of mana. Gets a little bit of regen from the Biscuit. Now Abagnale going to try and get in there. It's a decent cage as well. Kiba taken very low. Throws down that bail out. It's going to be a 1-for-1 right now, but now the turnaround starting to come through. His Taxa is in trouble. Flashes over the wall to take away the body of that Veigar. Senkers can't quite secure anything more. Thinking about going over the wall, though, and Abagnale is here. They go over the wall, turret secured, 1-for-1, all things said and done.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you end up losing your support, but for what? Your Ahri gets yet another kill, so there's an insurgence of gold there. Every single turret plating Crispberg was there for, from 1 to 5. The entire tower went down, and Crispberg was the recipient of all the cash in as well. And if you look at the inventories a little bit, I see a Gale Force plus Zeal versus something that will resemble maybe a Trinity Force, but not there yet.
That is the plan, and of course, reminder, we did see Merbs do disgusting things on Xayah early in the day with a very impressive CS per minute going on. Asenko just gets out of that event horizon, throws down the Pengu as well, knows what's going on. Not Pengu, it's Feather Knight, that one. I forget, whatever the name of it is, I don't actually know the name of that TFT character. Feather Knight, I think. Possibly Pengu.
I don't remember. I could have helped you, but I really don't remember. Flipper, that's not your river.
It's going to take a lot of damage. That handshake comes through, and I don't think it was a great one. It's a deal with the Devil. The turnaround, though, massive, and the bailout, not quite enough. Will not come back to that. Now, Chris Baker's here, has got the Gale Force, doesn't quite get the pullback the way they wanted to. Abagnale taken pretty damn low. Aero trying to get some more time. The event horizon surely going to be up shortly. Is now going to trap the Xayah in the cage, but that bird cage opens again pretty quickly, and the wings are able to soar on out of there, but that's a kill that goes the way of NYYRIKKI. Still going forwards though. Abagnale over the wall trying to help out, but now it's going to be 2 people dead. Abagnale trying to save his mid laner, and it's just not enough. Flashes to boot. Salt in the wound, and it is Crispberg who just walks in and styles on them.
NYYRIKKI is just lost. What are you still doing in the jungle? There is no objective. There is no creeps into your jungle. And Flipper face checks a river that does not belong to him with no members around from his team. He's so lucky that he doesn't die right there to the Viego, because not only the reason will come from the Renata shield, but also he'd be able to take Xin Zhao's body and maybe continue the fight further. As I still don't understand about here why Abagnale and Aero stay around. They know that this route does not belong to them. They know that Crispberg is still in this side of the jungle together with Kiba's Renata. So when a territory does not belong to you, does not have vision, there's no minions even in it at all. There is no objective to fight for. I do not know why NYYRIKKI stayed around and donated 2 kills to the main carry of Astralis.
You can see the attempt at the bait there. It just did not work, and it was just another kill. Gracefully donated as Banderas can lunge away. Does get out alive, but that is now another tower that's going to be offering up plates, crockery, to the increasing collection of Crispberg, who just seems to be a fine collector of porcelain this game.
And as you can see, they're sort of like moving Aero around like a pawn. They're trying to find the safest
the old
lane
Caitlyn technique
for this Veigar to go around. He's already 0-3. He's been picked on the most. But what that does to Charlotte is like, fine, let the Veigar try to farm. He's got what? A Kindle gem.
Right.
No damage yet. It's going to take a while until the Everfrost comes through, until any sort of real damage comes through from the Veigar. And then Crispberg's not going to still care, because when the ultimate from Veigar comes through, he has his own ultimate to dodge that from.
He's going to get 10 plates.
Cashing in plate after plate. 5 on the bot side of the map, potentially the entire tower still on the top of the map. That is a 10 turret plating Xayah with 2 items almost completed. It's utterly terrifying, because I'm looking at the team from NYYRIKKI and I'm like, okay, who kills the Xayah here?
I don't think anybody does at this point. I was going to make a Monty Python arrangement, because that beautiful plumage is oh so deadly. Ironically, in that sketch, it was a Norwegian blue. They're up against a Norwegian team. Actually, sorry, it's the Finnish team, of course, NYYRIKKI from that. I've got it all wrong. It's all gone wrong. The reference is dead. Never mind.
You just said it, man. It just wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't. Either way, Astralis looking so much more proactive. Crispberg looking so much more... Thank you, I appreciate it. I apologize to the people out there. I had thought I had a really good line, and it just wasn't, is what it was. Instead, we've got Sankox with 2-0. We've got Crispberg, 2-0, 10 plates the name. And that will have to kind of replace my poor choice in reference. Astralis continue to shove in a charm in the mid lane alongside the Everfrost. Azator just deleted. Chrisberg now in trouble, but just going to gale force forward. Abagnale not quite dead. That will not be the reset. Chrisberg taken so low, but the damage back, my days. So much work done by the hostile takeover. And it's a mighty, mighty change in fortunes here from NYYRIKKI. Nothing left for them in this mid lane. 6,000 gold at 15 minutes.
Honestly, so well played right there from Kiba as well. The newly added member to this Astralis roster that fumbled last season. They're coming in with a statement game as well. The last second sealed to make sure that it revives Chrisberg in this fight as well. And as you can see, Senkax and Chrisberg, beautiful taunt again, this time onto Azator, the AD carry from NYYRIKKI. They take him down and Chrisberg manages to dash out of the taunt to not be on tower range anymore. And once they do kill Aero's damage is enough to be lethal because the Ignite is sticking onto Chrisberg. But again, a beautiful shield onto Chrisberg. He gets another kill, which means that he does get to stay alive through Renata mechanics.
Oh, yes. Bailout is certainly an ability. Keep an eye as well.
Bailout, there you go.
I got you.
For the name, thank you.
You're welcome. Also want to shout out, this is Abagnale's Ricard, something we praised every game we saw it pretty much last split, and this time around, yes, he's been a part of the only 2 kills they've got, but it's not found the impact they were looking for, and this game is way out of hand so far in the bin right now, bluntly. Just look at that goal discrepancy, look at the tower discrepancy, look at the dragon discrepancy. I just don't know what they can do right now to try and get back into this.
I can see how this NYYRIKKI composition wants to work. You want to kite backwards. I understand and I see it, but I'm like, I don't feel like Ezreal, Zinzao, and Fiora deal enough AD damage to be worth itemizing against. So once you've got potentially an Anathema's chains onto this Veigar, or you potentially itemize a little bit of a mar against him, then you're good to go. And Carlson is even bullying that Fiora that should have been a side lane menace.
It's just not there yet, and that was the other issue with NYYRIKKI. He said, look, you need to kind of hit a couple items on these champions. It's just not happened yet. Chrisberg gets caught, but there's a shield that comes through, and he just doesn't take meaningful damage. Another tower goes down towards the Herald that is summoned. They're going to keep chasing forwards and try and get a second charge off.
Oh, you know it's doomed when the Xayah chooses to
the
event horizon and doesn't die.
Yeah, exactly that. And that is a very frustrating point. And that is part of what happens when your Veigar, this sole AP threat, really goes 0-4. Dies for first blood solo in mid lane, trying to stop a back that was baited as a result of a good flash charm out of Senkax as well. And this looks pretty lethal, bluntly, from Astralis right now. We saw a stomp in the last game from Dusty. Astralis looking to show that they are also going to be a contender here in this split. Of course, not done yet. Still some room to turn around. That hostile taker comes over. Are going to try and immune. That was a decent parry, but now the turnaround puts Chrisberg on a rampage as he secures that one. And they're going to keep chasing forward. Senga's still got to charge on the Spirit Flash charm afterwards as well. Just styling in this game. A 5th death for Aero. Cannot catch a break in this game. Chrisberg gets out on 5% HP as well. Just can't do anything wrong.
Cannot catch a break as well. He presses his ultimate button onto Chrisberg, and Chrisberg survives on 1.
I know, right?
He's just so unlucky at this point. I mean, NYYRIKKI are trying to make do with the champions that they have right now, but it's just not possible at this point. It's almost a 10k gold lead, 8,000 gold lead for Astralis, and you see how this Astralis comp is supposed to work. You make picks. You see Flipper overextend. That's not a tanky Zinzao, and the second that he's popped his ultimate as well, you know that he's never walking back in because he doesn't have the safety of it anymore. Senkax and Chrisberg, the 2 carries on their teams, dashing forward. The flash for the charm onto Aero as well. Beautifully done. And honestly, unlucky for Aero because his ultimate was just not enough to cash in on the shutdown that Chrisberg has on him. That would have been a huge insurgence of gold.
And now at Soul Point, there's an Ocean Soul on the line in under 5 minutes. They've got that gold lead we've talked about a lot. That momentum meter is all blue all day. It just doesn't feel like there's anything left to do. A Banshee's Veil now on this Ahri as well to continue to be able to dash forward through all of that CC and continue to make those charm plays that have been so critical to finding those initial picks.
Yeah, and as you can see, again, I just do not understand, and I do not know currently where NYYRIKKI are going to find the damage to kill anyone on the side of Astralis. It's just so frustrating because the second you move forward...
Gonna try and get in this. Might actually be a turnaround. Taxa is gonna get taken down to the bailout. Will not survive. He's dead. Asdor picks up on NYYRIKKI, trying now to escape best they can. Flipper traded out, so it's a 1-for-1 right now. Jungler for jungler.
Yeah, Taxa goes a little bit too deep right there, ends up getting punished. The second I ask, where's the damage coming from? NYYRIKKI sets really deep inside their pockets, and they just pull out the coins, they put them all in the center, and they're like, listen guys, everyone's gonna chime in on this one, we need to kill the guy who's diving deep.
Now, oh, Aero, no, you can't be there. Go away, just don't be there. There's a flash and a hop, just get away. That lane, that minion wave is not yours. Let's look at this again, because Astralis overdive a bit here.
Again, Aero pops the Predator. He's trying to catch at least Kiba. And by the time he's like too far forward, he gets caught, but the second Taxa overextends. Don't forget about the Rakan, don't forget about the Everfrost and Aero. They pin him into place and they assassinate him. And like I said, everyone chimed in for that kill because they all needed every coin in their pockets.
Kiba as well couldn't quite land the hostile takeover that time. The board on the opposing company decided against that particular bid. They get away with it. And also, let's be real here. I hesitate to say this as we're seeing maybe a little bit of an invade come through from Chrisberg and Kiba, but we saw Astralis get good leads last split. And then we got to the mid and late game where we started to see some pretty unfortunate overforces, some unfortunate objective setups, and yes, they were at a gold lead.
Surely
it should be. Well, you know, there were some similarities around some objective throws.
Are we too boomer to bring out the Dignitas reference?
I mean, I was a Renegades fan, and I watched that Renegades Dignitas game. So yes. Yeah, I mean, Alex Sitch was on that. Remember when I said my Diamond Proc stuff? Alex Sitch was another guy I really appreciated. He was on that roster, so yes. We're getting old here, yes, indeed. Go watch that game if you enjoy unfortunately bad games of League of Legends. Either way, what I was trying to get at was Astralis have shown, as recently as last split, a propensity for throwing big leads in the mid and late game. One play that went even certainly isn't that, but we need to see how it goes.
I just love the way that actually Kiba has been playing together with the team.
Really has.
Especially when you're integrating a brand new member into the roster. I didn't expect him to play to that extent. I think he has been fantastic. He has been hovering the map really well. He has been roaming the map really well. His vision set has been amazing. And it seems like he does fit the roster really well. The way he played bot lane together with Chrisberg looked really crisp too. And talking about, you know, Astralis throwing maybe mid to late game last split. At this point, I see them playing really well. They're establishing their vision. They're pushing together as a 3 or 4 man core unit. And at this point, NYYRIKKI, the members are so squishy that they can't afford to actually face check into Astralis' vision because one charm is the only thing that needs to land for somebody to disappear.
And you're right to praise Keeper. He's come into this slot. He's the one Twitch. And honestly, it seems to have made a pretty big difference. It's been a great Renata game thus far. It's not the only great thing we've been seeing. Because, of course, we've had some great social media stuff. And that's our friend, Lara. Oh. It's a NYYRIKKI stand, no less. Look at that. Don't encourage him. His ego's big enough already, Lara. And there you go.
Shout out SK Merch at the back as well.
Oh, boy.
Really beautiful stuff.
Oh, dear. Well, Lara Leonardi, we love you. Well done. Thank you for that. NYYRIKKI is going to be very smug about it as well. There you go. Well, we've got ourselves 20 seconds until Notion Soul fight. We've got ourselves a last gasp potentially for NYYRIKKI as Abagnale is caught briefly there, but won't quite fall down on Senkux. Gonna walk up to that Fiora, gonna get charmed out of it though. Now try to turn it around, a lot of damage back, can't quite secure the kill though, but it's a big chunk onto that Ari. I don't think it has the healing. Oh my days, that two-shot barrage as well did quite a lot of work.
Okay, he's gonna take the honey fruit and he's going to regen a little bit together with the pot that he has. But Aero just left the building, does not have the teleport. Oh, he's actually gonna stay. It was Banderas that TP'd back into the fray. Full HP for both of them. Senkux is going to do the same.
Oh, that hook onto Flipper forces out the Crescent Guard. Carlson about to hit Mega. Takes a bit of a chunk, but it's not that much as yet. Looking to go forwards, can't quite find the Mega. Banderas looking to try and hold his ground as Flipper has to flash out away from Senkux's charm. He's down and kept so far away from this Dragon. There's just no way in. Senkux plays bodyguard. Now they're gonna try and turn this around best they can. Dragon secure. secured, soul secured, hostile takeover. Doesn't really get as much damage as they want. Big charm. The cage is decent. Tankos goes golden. Now Flipper into the front line, dies, and Taxa will take the body and start charging on in. A double for Chrisberg, and the Heartbreakers keep landing. Chrisberg start throwing out even more feathers. A triple. Could this be even more? He'll throw out the blade store. The feather caller, I apologize, trying to get another. A quadra kill indeed. Banderas alone remains, but I'm not sure the Penta is going to be quite on the cards, yes, unless they want to fountain dive.
Is it going to be a fountain dive? Chrisberg.
They're going to look for it.
Showing week 1 with a quadra kill. They're going to make sure that they take the next towers first, but Felipe is spawning in 3 seconds. You cannot flip this dive.
They can't. He's respawned. The pentakill seems to be off the table. They'll settle for the quadra. They'll settle for showing him exactly how it's done. It's unofficial. It's not enough, but Astralis nonetheless come up with the win in the final game of day 1.
Absolutely, and that is what we wanted to see from Astralis in Spring Split, but they keep 4 out of 5 members in the roster. They add Kiba, and honestly, it has been a pleasure